Hello everyone! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. So today I'll be discussing about emergent literacy and theories of learning. So by the way, I am Mary Lou Pacheco, your reporter for the day. For our objectives, at the end of the lesson, students are expected to first, describe what is emergent literacy or early literacy. Second, distinguish the theories that support early literacy. Third, trace the concepts of emergent literacy before and now. What is emergent literacy? Emergent literacy encompasses the knowledge, skills, and attitude that a child develops in relation to reading and writing throughout the early childhood period starting from birth and before the onset of conventional reading and writing instruction, usually at the school entry. And emergent literacy includes such aspects as oral language, both speaking and listening, understanding that print can carry meaning as well as basic alphabet knowledge and early phonological awareness. So now, let's move on to the definition of emergent literacy. So we have three proponents of the definition of the emergent literacy. First, we have Marie Clay. Second, we have William Teal. And third is we have Elizabeth Salisbury. So first, let's have Marie Clay. So Marie Clay was the first one who used the term emergent literacy. So in 1966, Marie Clay coined the term emergent literacy to describe the behavior seen in young children when they use books and writing materials to imitate adult reading and writing. These behaviors, such as reading from the pictures and writing with scribbles and symbols, are important stages in children's literacy and development. So since Clay's initial research, our understanding of emergent literacy has evolved so that we can support young children as they transition from emergent to conventional readers. So this growth is influenced by both home and school environments and can be supported by a variety of strategies and learning activities. What's most essential is that kailangan yung children will be immersed in a literacy-rich environment including active participation in reading, writing, and conversational experiences. Okay, so now let's proceed with Dr. William Herbert Teal. Dr. Teal was a professor of education, university scholar, and director of the Center for Literacy in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction at the University of Illinois, Chicago. His doctoral degree was in reading education and English education from the University of Virginia. He viewed literacy as the result of children's involvement in reading activities facilitated by literate adults. He also said that all children who come to school already have certain experiences and interest in learning. Thus, emergent reading refers to competencies and literacy skills in early childhood. Through their encounters with print and their participation in several kinds of literacy events, children try to make sense of the environmental print. So indeed, they try to elaborate concepts about the nature and function of these written marks. Children also in this stage, they try to interpret environmental print. They also try to produce written marks. So their attempts constitute to the early steps of reading and writing. Thus, reading and writing activities go hand in hand, contributing to literacy development as comprehension and production both contribute to the oral language acquisition. The use of the term literacy in the phrase emergent literacy indicates the acquisition of reading and writing takes place simultaneously. Okay, so now let's proceed with Elizabeth Salisbury. Elizabeth Salisbury is the professor of education at the University of Michigan, and she is best known for her pioneering work in emergent literacy. She defines literacy as the reading and writing behaviors of young children that precede and develop into conventional literacy. Thiel and Salisbury work together, and they maintain that in the schools, the reading readiness program and the notion of the need to teach prerequisites for reading became fixed. Furthermore, using reading readiness programs in the kindergarten literacy curriculum became a widespread practice. The reading readiness program, which became so firmly entrenched during the 1960s, remained extremely prevalent in the 1980s. Research in emergent literacy has led Salisbury in a number of related directions. She has studied the transition from emergent to conventional literacy. So she also designed techniques for assessing literacy from toddlers to early elementary grades in a manner consistent with emergent literacy insights. Okay, so now Elizabeth Salisbury describes categories of children's storybook reading from emergent through conventional reading. We have level 1, labeling. For level 2, labeling with actions which follow the actions on the page. For level 3, we have dialogic storytelling, telling the story in dialogue, using the picture in front of them. For level 4, telling the story with oral language but not story language. For level 5, beginning to use the story language in telling the story. For level 6, imitating reading without elaboration but they are really using the pictures. For level 7, imitating with elaboration and they are really using the pictures. For level 8, recognizing that print holds words and meaning, noticing it and sweeping at it and now saying that they cannot read it. For level 9, they are retelling now the pages, seeing a familiar word, saying it and rereading it. And for level 10, they are telling and holding parts of the story together. Okay, so now let's proceed with the transitions on the perspectives of emergent literacy. So first, we have basic literacy. Here, it emphasizes the reading and writing of young learners to construct meaning for themselves. So here in basic literacy, children use their initial learning from their home or from their environment to construct meanings of words that they encountered, letter knowledge, print awareness, and phonological awareness. Okay, so now let's proceed with social-cultural literacy. Social-cultural literacy, it emphasizes the importance of social interaction of children to construct cultural specific meanings and to demonstrate literacy practices as social events and cultural phenomena. And cultural literacy is culture-specific. So there are too many different cultures to be literate in all of them. Most people have a fluent cultural literacy in their culture of origin as they will have been learning their culture's assumed knowledge from childhood. You will need to develop new cultural literacies when you enter a new culture or interact with the members of that culture. So for example, the culture of the Philippines compromises a blend of traditional Filipino and Spanish Catholic traditions with influences from America and other parts of Asia. The Filipinos are family-oriented and often religious with a appreciation for art, fashion, music, and food. Okay, so now let's proceed with the functional literacy. So functional literacy, it emphasizes the use of technology for instruction and literacy and the young learners' use of technology to produce meaning. So it also refers to the capacity of a person to engage in all those activities in which literacy is required for effective function of his or her group and community, and also for enabling him or her to continue to use reading, writing, and calculation for his or her own and the community's development. So example of this is when you are reading and writing words and numbers in very simple documents. So example, you are locating easily identifiable information on a chart, or you are signing a form, or you are adding a dollar amount to a deposit slip. Example, you are also performing simple skills to understand short text. Example is you are reading a pamphlet, using a TV guide, or comparing ticket prices. You are also performing challenging skills to understand long text. So example of this, you are looking up information in a reference book, summarizing a long article, and placing an order and calculating the cost. And last example is that you are performing creative and critical skills to understand dense and complex text. So you are comparing viewpoints in editorials, interpreting statistical graphs, measuring and calculating the cost of food items per ounce. Okay, so now this is the graphic organizer that shows the summary of the meaning of emergent literacy. Okay, so now let's proceed with the concepts of emergent literacy. So we have here the table for the comparison of concepts before and now. So before, early literacy was somewhat neglected. So they are just letting the kids to do what they want, to do play, like that. But now, there is a great deal of attention to literacy development in early childhood. Before, little attention given to a child's literacy was already in grade 1. So they are starting now to give attention to the literacy of the kids in grade 1. But now, acquisition of given information about literacy begins at birth and continues at the course of early childhood. Before, they assumed that the beginning of literacy was in grade 1, but now, development of literacy in a child's earliest years. So, parents now are more aware that children are learning during their toddlers or their earliest years. Kahit ilang months pa yung baby or bago mag-grade 1, so meron na silang nalalaman. Next is speaking and listening will learn in early childhood while reading and writing will learn in school age. But now, there is a simultaneous development of language-related abilities. Before, reading instruction was ignored in preschool education. But now, they are giving emphasis on oral language development and preparation for reading. So, during the kindergarten days of children nowadays, teachers are teaching already the kids phonics, marungko approach, using marungko approach, and also basic sight words in preparation for grade 1. Before, there is no advocacy for formal reading instruction in early childhood. But now, they are capitalized on child's existing knowledge, information about literacy, and reading and writing experiences. So, it is somewhat more on child-centered. Before, preschoolers were not perceived as readers and writers. So, they are just perceived as kids that is playing and also learning. But now, children are active constructor of their own learning. Before, they are just waiting for a child for the natural maturation to unfold. So they are just waiting for the child to develop literacy by himself or herself. But now, they are nurturing emergent literacy from birth to kindergarten to grade 1. Okay, so now let's proceed. Before, preparation for literacy was through the acquisition of set of prescribed hierarchy of skills. But now, it is continuous building of knowledge on oral language, reading, and writing. So, it is somewhat spiral. So, what they have learned from grade 1 will continue to grade 2, to grade 3, and so on. Next is before, progression from part to whole, a set of skills as prerequisites to reading. But now, children learn from meaningful and functional situations. So now, they learn from real-life situations. Next is that before, drills are contrived. So here, they are just learning on what is planned according to the plan. It is arranged in a way that seems artificial or unrealistic na. But now, children are interested and attempt early to communicate in writing, reading, and writing are cultivated concurrently. So, it is arising naturally doon sa bata. And before, writing had been certainly missing. Writing develops after reading na. But now, halos sabay na siya. So, reading and writing come hand in hand. What are the characteristics of emergent reader? Emergent reading pertains to the first stage in child's growth toward literacy. So this stage relates to the beginning experiences or the child's first experience with print in the home and continues through early years of formal schooling. So, reading behavior does not begin at a particular age but emerges continually. Thus, the term called emergent reading pertains to the first stage in a child's growth toward literacy. So, particularly, this stage relates to the beginning experiences of the child's first experience with print in the home and continues through early years of formal stage. Okay, so now let's proceed with the stages of reading process. So we have here 5 stages of reading process. Stage 1, emergent readers. So age from 2 to 7 years old, they begin to familiarize themselves with the concepts of print related to directionality, one-to-one correspondence between the spoken and written word, and the value of picture clues to the meaning of the story. In this stage, early emergent readers are beginning to learn sound, symbol relationships, starting with consonants and short vowels, and are able to read CVC words or the consonant vowel consonant words, as well as a number of high frequency words or yung mga tinatawag natin na basic sight words. Books at this level must have a strong picture support, and they are carefully controlled text and also repetitive patterns. Okay, so now let's proceed with stage 2, the early readers. So picking up from the concepts attained as an emergent reader, early readers now begin to rely more heavily on the printed text than on the picture in the book. So here, early readers are able to begin learning how to connect sounds to printed letters and words. And they soon realize that letters represent sounds and notice that combination of letters produce different sounds. Okay, so now let's proceed with stage 3 or the transitional readers. So they make the leap into fluent reading as they are generally able to read in meaningful phrases with comfortable face and appropriate voice intonation. Transitional readers, sometimes referred to as intermediate or nearly fluent readers, and they began to adopt the reading behaviors that will allow them to progress toward more advanced reading skills. They read more complex text, and for longer periods of time, they identify letter patterns and encode more accurately in spelling. Now, let's have stage 4, the self-extending or the self-extending readers. They often read a variety of textual genres and use reading as a tool for gaining new knowledge. Self-extending readers, they read silently most of the time and are fluent and phrased in oral reading. They used all sources of information, from the word structure to the syntax and the meaning, in a smoothly orchestrated way. And they also analyze words in flexible ways, such as using context clues, and make excellent attempts at new multi-syllable words, even technical ones. Now, let's proceed with stage 5, or the advanced readers. So, these are the readers who have attained a level of master with reading. They are generally over the age of 9 and have become proficient in reading and in comprehending various text sources. So now let's proceed with the theories supporting early literacy development. So there is a number of learning and child development theories support emergent literacy and likewise early literacy instruction. These theories have assumed a central place in early literacy research and have reflected in the variety of perspective evident. Okay, so now let's proceed to the first theory. We have John Jack Uzu, 1712 to 1778, and he is the proponent of natural learning. So its emphasis is child's learning unfolds naturally, learning through curiosity. Its strategies is matched the child's readiness to learn with a little adult intervention. For the activities, we must allow children to grow and learn with freedom to be themselves. And for the skills, natural development of skills, individual ways of learning through curiosity. Okay, so now let's proceed with Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi, 1746 to 1827. Natural unfolding of child. So its emphasis is natural learning with informal instruction. Natural potential of a child develops through the senses. For the strategies, provide informal instruction, provide manipulative experiences, and learning about them. For the activity, we must gauge the kids with informal activities that eventually lead to learning, manipulating objects, and learning about them. And for the skills, it will develop their skills with shapes, colors, and size recognition, and also language skills. Okay, so now we have Friedrich Froebel, 1782 to 1852. He is known as the father of kindergarten. He proposed the natural learning of child through planned environment. For its emphasis, the adult responsible for the education of the child needs to be concerned with the child's natural unfolding, emphasis on the fullest benefits of playing to learn, requires adult guidance and direction and a planned environment. For the strategies, provide adult guidance and a planned environment. Guided play in which they can learn, providing manipulative materials to learn concepts, allowing circle time, which is an opportunity to sing and to learn new ideas through discussion. Activities, teacher-facilitated activities, guided play, manipulative for learning certain concepts, and providing opportunity for circle time for singing. And for the skills, it will develop their psychomotor skills, shapes, colors, and size recognition, and guided play, singing, obedience, and discipline. Now we have John Dewey, 1966. He is the proponent of progressive education. Its emphasis in the early childhood learning, it is child-centered and is built around the interest of the child, and the child learns best through play because of social interaction. Next, for the strategies, allow time for play and learning, providing a relaxed atmosphere, and informal activities for learning. Thus, our kindergarten rooms, diba? They have a play area in which children can learn. For the activities, manipulative toys, arts, music, story reading, free and outdoor play, snack, rest, circle time, informal reading, and writing. And for the skills, they can develop social skills, emotional and physical development, informal reading, and writing. Okay, so now let's proceed with Maria Montessori, 1965, Senses and Systems. So its emphasis, children need early, orderly, systematic training in mastering one skill after another, or the auto-education. Its strategies is specific concepts meeting specific objectives. Learning materials are self-correcting. Learning during sensitive period or during the childhood years. Designing activities and experiences for learning. For the activities, we must allow children to use manipulative toys, working with carefully designed and specific materials for specific skills, work instead of play, activities for skill mastery. So that is why in our school, because our school is, because I am from Montessori school, instead of saying, okay, you play, so you must say, work with the materials. So the materials is the manipulative toys. In our kindergarten rooms, you can see there's some manipulative toys like toys on how to button the shirt, how to zip it, how to the hook and eye, like that. We have also the yung parang alambre with beads, that is for counting. So that is for the activities. And for the skills, it will develop specific concepts, self-correction, independent learning, and mastery of one skill after another. Okay, so now let's have John Piaget, 1969, Cognitive Development. So its emphasis is that children at certain stages are capable of only certain types of intellectual endeavors, acquire knowledge by interacting with the world, and active participants in their own learning. For the strategies, we must provide real-life setting and materials, opportunity to play, explore and experiment, and allowing kids to use their curiosity, inquisitiveness, and spontaneity to help themselves to learn. For the activities, we must give kids or children natural problem-solving situation, playing, exploring, and experimenting, playing one's own activities, and cooperating with teachers and peer in planning, evaluating, learning. So here we must include the kids, or we must gauge the kids with the real life situations or the natural problem solving situations. For the skills, we must have active construction of his learning, problem solving, playing, exploration, experimentation, and curiosity. He will also develop inquisitiveness and spontaneity in decision making and social interaction. Okay, so for our last but not the least theory, we have Lev Vygotsky, 1981, the schema acquisition. For the emphasis, mental functions are acquired through social relationship. Learning takes place when the child interacts with peers and adults in social setting as they act upon the environment. For the strategies, we must provide kids with meaningful and interactive activities. Provide activities that allow a child to internalize, exposing a child to the new situations and to actively interact with others. For the activities, story reading, story retelling, directed listening, thinking activities, shared book experiences, dialogues, conversation, social function of reading and writing activities, communicative functions of language. And for the skills, they can develop communication skills, reading and writing skills, oral language skills, social skills, and internalization of skills. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening. And now I will give the floor to my partner, Miss Labajo, for her report about constructivist model and views on reading. Thank you.